What? Excuse me? Excuse me? I don't know. I don't know how that happened. Hello interwebs and welcome back. I'm Shanna and this is where I share my life and stories and adventures and opinions and whatever else I feel like. So this is day 4, part 3, and day 5 of my Taiwan, Taipei adventure with my friends. Now this one starts off after our Taipei 101 adventure and we go to a place to get some food called Ba Feng Yin Ji, which is a gyoza chain in Taipei, maybe all over Taiwan, I don't know, but it's in Taipei and it is everything. Megan got some wonton soup. Got a black soybean drink. What'd you get?
Black tea.
Black tea?
Sweet black tea.
Apparently tastes like sweet tea.
It's called like BA something something.
So little gyoza side story. When we entered this restaurant, it was really funny because nobody really wanted to talk to us. They could tell that they didn't speak English, or maybe they didn't want to speak English, and they didn't want to help us. But luckily, we are very used to navigating things in a place that we don't speak the language, and we figured out that, oh, okay, we have to take these little pieces of paper, write down what we want on it, take it to the checkout, they make our food, bring it to us. And so we get our pieces of paper, and to figure out what we wanted, we're matching the kanji and marking it up, and then I go get in line, and there's a lady in front of me, and then the guy checking people out at the register. And I see him look at her, and then look at me, and then look back at her with this like wild, almost panic in his eyes. And he says something to her, and I'm assuming from the air and from the conversation and what was happening that he was asking if she spoke English. And she turns around, looks at me, looks at my friends behind me, looks back at him and says, "No." And I see the panic in his face, and he finishes checking her out and then looks me directly in the eye, totally fearful, and I just hand him the paper completely filled out, and the look of relief that came over him when he realized that we know what we're doing and it's fine was very, very amusing. And I can understand, you know, from his standpoint how intimidating that must be to be in that situation, but it can also be intimidating as the foreigner. So, I don't know, just wanted to share the story time with you. Pork and cabbage, pork and leech?
Leek, yeah.
Leek?
Leech.
Pork and kimchi and pork and curry. Wow. Vegetable. What did you get?
I'm not sure which is which. I guess that's the vegetable. I got corn and pork, the Korean one, the curry one, pork and leek. I don't know what else. Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, let's try them and see which ones we like best.
Also, do you recommend chili oil?
Chili oil.
But not with the kimchi or the curry.
Good to know. My favorite thing so far has probably been the grilled cheese and the vegetable stuff that we had the first night. That vegetable mix, I don't know what all it was. It had a cauliflower and something else, mushrooms. Really good. And so was the cabbage soup, but grilled cheese.
Also, I really liked at Isaac's Coffee our bagel breakfast.
Yeah.
It was a nice plain bagel, and it was like toasted with butter, and it had an egg omelet type of thing with corn in it. I really like the Taiwanese sweet bacon in it, and bagel and cheddar cheese. It was delicious.
Yeah, the bagels were really, really, really good.
I'm still eating some of that. Delicious.
Our next plan is to go get some Oreo milkshakes that we saw, take a nap, and then go wander around the Da'an district where we are staying. So, yeah. I think it's one of those things where people leave books and you can take books. That's cool. I don't know for sure though. Or I'm making stuff up and completely lying, which is also possible. Post gyoza though, we checked out a cafe called Well Cafe that we had been walking by several times for some... Cheers! I can't really do it. I should drink it. It's good though. That evening, we went to the original and famous Din Tai Fung, which is famous for its Xiaolongbao. So it's dinner time now, and we are getting the Xiaolongbao, which is kind of the thing that everybody has told me I need to get here in Taiwan, so I'm super, super excited about it. We are at Din Tai Fung, which is a famous restaurant for this, and it's going to be really delicious, and I'm super excited, and yeah. This place is definitely worth checking out. I know that they have chains or branches in other countries, but going to the original is totally different.
So it's 1 to 3, 1 soy sauce, 3 vinegar.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. I think I tried to do it myself last time. I didn't do a good job.
Expert.
With Xiaolongbao, thank you very much. Great squash and shrimp Xiaolongbao is not sauce, the original flavor. Thank you.
So the next day was the day we were supposed to be leaving the country, and we said our goodbyes. We headed to Toasteria for some food. We relaxed, we played on snow for a little bit, and we waited on our taxi to the airport to come pick us up. We're all sad, none of us want to leave. Bye-bye room. Bye-bye. These masks are cute.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the Snow White one.
Good choice. I wish they had an Alice one. So it's our last day here, and of course we had to come to Toasteria again because it was so good. And this time I'm getting the same thing I got last time. 3 cheese, grilled cheese, and hummus. April, what are you gonna get this time?
The grappa, grilled smoked gouda, red wine, onion jam, roasted garlic, and fresh basil, grilled cheese.
What are you gonna drink?
Sparkling gingerberry.
Ooh. I'm getting a tiramisu latte. What are you getting?
I'm undecided.
Yeah?
Probably grilled cheese, I think.
Oh, you're not gonna go for the breakfast? Classic grilled cheese?
Yeah, I think so. Nothing fancy.
French fries?
Maybe.
You should get hummus.
Yeah, I'm gonna get hummus.
You should get hummus.
Can you substitute the fries for hummus?
I don't know. I just ordered hummus instead of fries last time.
Oh.
So, I don't know. But it's gonna be delicious. Thank you. check-in at the airport is where the mistake suddenly came to life. So because we got to the airport really early, we kind of started the line for the check-in, and we're waiting for them to open, so we're just sitting on the floor relaxing. And when they finally open, I stand up with Megan and April, and we walk to the counter to check into our flight. And I give the guy my information, and he has a troubled look on his face, and he says, "I can't find your flight. I can't find your flight." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And so he asks if he can see the email again, and I show him the email, and he's looking, and he goes, oh, and I'm like, what's the problem? What's the problem? And he says, so this is for the 28th, and I'm like, yeah, and he goes, of next month. What? Excuse me? I don't know. I don't know how that happened. I don't know if it was my mistake, which, I mean, it easily could have been. I'm not perfect. I do make mistakes, but I usually am very paranoid and thorough with these sorts of things. Or if, you know, technology's not perfect either, and maybe something got submitted wrong, and none of us paid close enough attention to when I actually booked the date for when I booked our flight back. So I immediately have this panic take over me. I can feel my entire body shaking from the inside, but according to Megan, I looked very calm and put together on the outside, so that's good. It was just internally that I was dying. And I asked him, well, what can I do? Is there any way you can get us on this flight? Like, you know, what are we gonna do? And he hands me a piece of paper, and he tells me to call the airline. So I walk over to the side, try to call the airline, and what do you know, because of the time difference, the English line is closed because it runs on Japan time and we are in Taiwan. And let me tell you, it closed 5 minutes before I made this phone call. So that was perfect. And so I'm continuing to panic, and I go back to the desk and I tell him the line is closed, and he says, okay, try the Japanese line. And I'm like, my Japanese isn't very good.
Which he probably thought my Japanese was better than it was, because I had helped translate for some travelers while we were waiting and on hold.
And he's like, well, just try it. And I was like, okay. So I try, it's closed. So he goes, okay, try the Chinese line. And I'm like, I don't speak any Chinese. And he's like, that's okay. He's like, when they answer the phone, just ask if they speak English. Most people speak English. And I was like, okay. So I call the line. I'm on hold forever. Finally, a lady answers, and I say, I'm really sorry, but do you speak English? And she says, no, you can call the English line. And I said, I can't because it's closed. Hold on. And I run back to the counter, and I asked the guy, I was like, can you please talk to her for me? I don't speak Chinese and I need help. So he takes my phone, and he was translating, and we're going back and forth. And while we had been waiting, Megan and I had both checked other flights to see what the soonest flight we could get for the cheapest price was. And the airline was willing to change our flight for us to the next morning for $400 more. $400 more. Where we could book a brand new flight, lose the $80 we spent on this flight, but leave the next afternoon for only another $80. So we decided that was the best option. And Megan and I slept in the airport while April got on her flight because she was smart and booked it correctly. And it was interesting. And I'm really glad that Megan doesn't hate me. And at least now we have an interesting story, and sleeping in the airport wasn't too bad, right? Right, Megan? I hope not. I love you. I'm so sorry. Well, it is always an adventure with me. I messed up and didn't check the return flight dates when I got my email, and I don't know what happened, but somehow our flight was booked for January 29th, not December 29th. And so now we're not leaving until tomorrow because Peach couldn't get us on the flight that we were supposed to be on. They wanted to charge us more than 40,000 yen to get on a flight with them for tomorrow, which was more than what it would have cost to book with another airline and not get our money back for our flight. So I booked a new flight, flying with Tiger Air tomorrow, heading back to Japan. Gonna, I guess, hang out in the airport all night. Megan probably hates me now. I feel like it. But yeah, adventure time with Shanna. Anyway, that pretty much wraps it up for this one. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button. If you haven't yet, please also hit the subscribe button. And let me know down in the comments below, have you ever made such a huge mistake with a flight or any other type of booking that was really kind of important? So let me know. Thanks for watching. I'm really glad I could share this adventure with you, and I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! I want to just add really quick that I loved so many different things about Taiwan, from the culture to the food to the history to all the different sights you can see, but my favorite thing were the dogs. Dogs everywhere. They were all over and they were friendly and you could pet them and it wasn't weird and I was so happy.